Welcome back to this channel. It's Risen Internet, a comedian and spiritual advisor, and today I think we need to talk. So, while talking, I am prepping my dinner. I have my little niblets here and my little potatoes and Brussels sprouts. Does anybody else eat Brussels sprouts with potatoes? I do. Something about the potato part of it makes me forget that it's a sprout. I don't know, but I'm actually one of those ones that love a sprout. I really do. But the reason why I was like, I'm just gonna make this video while I cut all the little tiny eyes off of a potato, like those little things. I can't deal with it, man. It gives me the ick, and I will sit here all day and take them off of tiny potatoes. So I just can't do it. But the reason why I wanted to talk was because yesterday I had a bad day. No, not a bad day. I had a bad morning. Yesterday I had a bad morning, right? I woke up, got really sad news, and before I was even out of my bed, my heart was racing. Felt like there was a pit in my stomach, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm crying. I'm in the bathroom trying to clear my eyes because I have to work, right? And then I did what a lot of us do. I then started working and then had a bad day at work, right? Just felt like people were harder on me than I would have appreciated it, right? And it wasn't good. And I remember having a moment where I was like, when's the last time someone asked me if I was okay? I felt like it was a genuine question, and then also felt like I actually gave them a genuine answer. And then when I thought of that, I realized I couldn't answer the question. Either because maybe someone did genuinely ask me, but because I wasn't in a place to share, I didn't tell the truth. I said, oh, I'm fine, when I wasn't, right? Or someone asked, but I knew it wasn't genuine. Like those, everyone, when someone calls you and they need something and they start it with, how are you? And you're like, I know that's not why you're here. Just tell me what you need, right? And so I started going through all those scenarios, and I realized that it doesn't happen often where the two link up, where someone asks you if you're okay, they're genuine in their question, and you are in a place to share whether or not you're okay. And I, from that, realized that the space to release and take everything that's on the chest off of the chest doesn't oftentimes come up for people. And I was thinking oh, that's really sad. And so I thought to myself, well, what am I going to do about that? What do I want to do about that? What do I want to do about that just in general? Do I want to do something about it publicly? Do I want to do something about it for myself? And what I realized for myself was, okay, so my morning didn't start off great. My afternoon wasn't great either, right? But I still have the nighttime, and I still have an opportunity. And I can't change the circumstances of the morning. I can't change the news that I received. I can't change what I'm feeling, but what I can change is how I allow myself to experience what I'm feeling. One, allowing myself to actually feel the thing, right? Allowing the feeling to flow through instead of holding it and letting it sit on my chest, right? The space to process what's happening to me or what I perceive is happening to me at that time. And then I also was but I also can choose peace. And by choosing peace, I can choose to surrender and relinquish control over the situation that I obviously don't have control over. And part of the pain and the sadness and me being upset is me trying to hold on to control of a situation that I obviously don't have control of. There's no peace in that. And so I chose to choose peace and to do this. Then Spirit was like, you should ask. And I said, what? They said, you should ask people. And ironically, the first thing I thought was, is that invasive? Is that intrusive? Is it intrusive for me to then go, oh, I'm going to ask how somebody else is doing? And I felt that way because I had to figure out why I would feel that was invasive, because sometimes I'm so closed off emotionally that I then projected that other people would be close too, right? And then I was like, okay, I'm going to follow instructions and just ask, because I was feeling that it was sitting in the collective that just people weren't okay. And I just became very aware of it, probably because I had thought about, well, when's the last time someone asked me if I was okay? And then I thought, well, if that's my experience, I highly doubt that I'm the only one, right? So I asked. I went to the community tab and I asked you guys here on YouTube, are you okay? And the thing that I found interesting was only a few of you said that you were. The majority of you said, actually, I'm not okay. The majority of you said, I haven't been okay in a while. The majority of you said, I've been suffering in silence. You feel like you have no support. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because I want you to understand that you are not alone in your experience. And that sometimes it's okay not to be okay. And it's okay not to have an answer about how you're going to fix that. And it's okay to not have an answer about how a certain situation in life is going to fix itself, or if it's going to fix itself, or when is it going to fix itself. It's okay not to know what's happening tomorrow, right? It's okay to stop where you are, bring yourself back to center, and live in the moment. Bring yourself back to day. Do the day, go to sleep, and then when you wake up, that's a new day. You try again. And if you are in a place where the day feels so big, then reduce it to hour. I will get through this hour. We will worry about it next hour. And if that's too big, then make it minute to minute. And I'm saying this because I have been at times in my life where the day was too big, where taking it day by day was too much. I had to go hour by hour. That was it. I've had times in my life where, where I had to say, look, I am having a hard time figuring out how I'm going to exist here on this planet. And to prevent me from absolutely losing it because I'm on the verge, I can only think about what will happen between now and lunch. And that's all you're going to get from me because that's all that I've got. And I've had to learn to be okay with that, because what we're not remembering a lot of the times is that we are not machines. We are humans. We are animals. And one thing that animals do, each and every one of them, is rest and relax. They explore when they want to. And if you would notice, the majority of animals sleep all day. That's normal. And what we have done as a product of society is the opposite of all of that. We are running like we are machines. We are being treated as if we are machines. And then we are wondering why we feel like we can't keep up because we are not a machine. Just because society treats you like a machine doesn't mean that you have to treat yourself like a machine. You are allowed to say, I need space for my humanity. I need space to be a human. I need space to experience being a human. And you know what? One thing about experience being a human is experiencing all of the emotions that are coming with it. A lot of you are experiencing a lot of things that you're holding in, that you're keeping in for all sorts of reasons. Maybe you feel like you don't know where to turn to for help. Some of you feel like you don't even know what to say. You just know you don't feel well. You don't even know what you would say in order to explain to somebody why you don't feel well. And a lot of that is because it's not processed. You don't have the words because you haven't processed it. You haven't let it flow through you. And processing means allowing it to flow. And that can translate in a lot of things for people, mostly tears. But you don't have to cough down your tears every time you feel it coming up. Because here's one thing about energy. It has to come out. It has to flow. And if you are stopping it and stifling it, it's getting stuck in the body, and then you're getting sick. Now you got sinus problems, you got all these allergies, right? Because you got all this stuff that's unresolved that's sitting in the body when it needed to come out. You have to allow yourself to experience what it means to be a human. Emotions are part of humanity. And when you are not allowing yourself to express it, to feel it, to experience it, what you are doing is denying yourself of your humanity. And if you're going to deny yourself of your humanity, what was the point of incarnating? What was the point of making that difficult journey to be a soul? If you're denying yourself the very thing that you actually came here to do and experience. You got to be kind to yourself, all of you. Just because the world is not kind, sometimes the world is not kind to you, doesn't mean that you then have to repeat the behavior that the world has repeated. It does not mean that you have to repeat the behavior of those around you. It does not mean that you have to repeat the behavior of your parents, of your friends, your significant other. You don't have to repeat those behaviors. You can be your own person. You can choose to do things your own way. You can choose to be somebody that shows compassion and mercy, and you can choose to start by showing that stuff to yourself, by being compassionate with yourself, by holding mercy and space for yourself, by acknowledging that you too do matter. And yeah, it would be great if sometimes we were on a journey where we felt like there was an abundance of resources. Some people have them, not everyone does, right? Where there was an abundance of people that you can go to, that you can lean on. That's an ideal world, but it doesn't exist for everybody. And I'm pulling you all together in this chat today to let you know that a lot of your stories are the same. And that if you feel alone, whatever that view count number is by the time you get there or you get here, are the people who can resonate with how you're feeling. Even if those people are no longer in that space today, even if those people are okay today, right? They still understand you. And a lot of you feel like no one understands you. That no one sees you. A lot of you feel like no one hears you. By the way, I'm channeling right now. This is downloading. A lot of you feel like you don't matter to people. A lot of you feel like sometimes, am I just taking up space? Am I just taking up room? If something happened to me tomorrow, would someone even notice? Would someone even see? Would someone be happy that I was gone? It is your right to exist in this world exactly who you are, exactly as you are, and exactly as you want to be in the way that you want to express it. Why? Because it's your birthright. That was the agreement prior to your incarnation. You're going to feel like, why is the world like this? Why are people like this? Why is there no peace? Why is everything so chaotic? And unfortunately, dear, it's because a lot of people are not at peace. And when a lot of people are not at peace, those people are then living and existing in a state of untruth and a state of chaos, right? Because they don't know what the truth is. It's chaotic. There's no balance. There is no equilibrium. People are genuinely miserable, right? People are genuinely angry. Why you see every time you scroll through social media, half of it is anger and outburst and crazy people walking down the sidewalk because people are in fact losing it, right? Because as humans, we are currently doing the exact opposite of what we are originally built to do. We are not built to run like machines. And so we're wondering why we can't keep up like a machine. We are wondering why we have parts that are breaking down because we are trying to be something that we are not designed to be. We are designed to rest, to play, to explore, For those of you that are like, I feel bad because all I really want to do is rest. All I really want to do is sleep. And you're like, does that make me lazy? No, it means one, you're operating like a machine, so you're probably burnt out. But two, you want to do what humans naturally are designed and built to do, which is rest. We are animals, we are primates, and people forget that. That is what you are meant to do. Take that, paired with the amount of stimulation that we're getting from existing, due to the level of chaos, the level of noise. You can't even sit here and listen to your own thoughts, let alone sit here and listen to what's happening in the heart, right? Yeah, you may feel some kind of way, but be okay with feeling some kind of way. Grant yourself space to feel some kind of way, and don't have guilt because you feel some type of way. Being upset, not being okay, does not make you weak. Doesn't mean that you're someone that's complaining a lot, although some people do complain a lot, right? But it's okay to be upset, right? And also consider why you're having a hard time communicating that, right? Because for a lot of you, there is a lesson in here. There is a area of opportunity, an area for growth, an area for healing and for mending, where you can reflect on, okay, I'm not okay. However, if you're one of the ones that feels like you're suffering in silence, you can use this as an opportunity to address that. Why? Because if you're suffering in silence for a long time, you might as well make it productive. Figure out why it's in silence. What's happening that has created a situation where you don't feel like you're in a safe space to be loud? Did someone shut you down at one point in time? Did someone tell you that your feelings don't matter? Did someone tell you to shut up? This is also an opportunity to resolve why it's hard to say that you're not okay. Address things around why you feel not being okay is the same thing as being vulnerable. Because a lot of people go, I don't want to be vulnerable because I'm not okay. To me, that has nothing to do with vulnerability. Not being okay to me is a very normal state of being. How could you be okay in this fucking environment? Okay? It's very, if you were okay, I would think you were a little bit crazy, honestly, right? It's not vulnerability. What it is truth. For you to say I'm not okay is for you to be in truth, right? What I have learned to do over the years when someone says to me, like, are you okay? And let's say it's a day when I'm not, typically what I'll do is go, do you want the society's answer or do you want the truth? And I give people the opportunity to back out if they are not mentally in a space to hold the space that I need them to hold for me, right? But it also cues them and let them know that the answer probably isn't what they would hope to hear. And so I say to them, well, do you want the truth today or do you want that politically correct, friendly answer today, right? It also lets me know whether or not them asking was actually them genuinely asking because they actually wanted to know, or if it was like the precursor to them getting to the question that they originally had for me anyway, you know? And so, like, do you want to know? You're asking me if I'm okay, but if I really sat here and told you that I wasn't, do you want to know? Do you want to hold that space for me? And give people the opportunity to make that decision because they too may not be okay, right? We are looking at everyone, and because everyone's having these straight faces, we're thinking that, oh, they're fine, right? You think you see someone and you have this picture of what you think they are in their head based off of how they dress, how they walk, how they talk, they're this, they're that, not realizing that they too are going home crying too, crying themselves to sleep, trying to figure out how they're going to get through the next day, trying to figure out whether or not they're going to make it the next day. This is something that is part of the human journey to feel. Part of the creation of the human journey is then deciding whether or not you're going to use this moment as a moment of creation or if you are going to sit in this space. Because here's the thing about being in that space, it doesn't go away. And it goes away temporarily, but because life lifes itself, you will have moments again in life where you have a down period, you're not feeling so great. You will always be presented with another opportunity to look at your situation and go, is this going to be the moment I choose to be my creator? Is this going to be the moment that I choose to create what now happens after this? How I now see the world after this? What now changes after this? Am I going to release this? Or am I going to do something about it? Right? This is the moment for you to say, okay, I feel really powerless right now, but am I going to make a decision to take it back? Am I going to do something? And after making the decision of whether or not you want to create, allowing yourself a moment to stop there and then not have to figure out what the rest of the answer is. Because what happens when we're in that place, we are in a place where we can't see. When you are upset, when you're not okay, sometimes you feel boxed in, you feel trapped in, you can't see anymore, you have no idea what's going on anymore, you don't know where your options are anymore, right? Your mind becomes blurry because it's flooded with the hormones, right? Because you're not okay. Sometimes you just make the decision that you want to create your way out, and then you let that information come to you. You don't hold expectation that you then know the answer to how to get yourself out of the situation, how to fix the situation, how to change the situation, right? You don't have to know all of that. You may just need to know that you're choosing to now create, because there will always be times in life when you are not going to be okay. But the thing that people oftentimes forget is that, yeah, there are situations that happen to you that cause you to be in certain states, but what happens after that is now up to you. And when you're in the process of creating, afterwards, it's okay for you to still be creating when you're not in a space of being okay, right? Because you know that you will be okay at some point. You guys can do hard things. I know you can do hard things. You guys tell me your stories. A lot of you have been through so much. I'm very proud of you all, by the way, because whenever I hear your stories, I'm like, wow, you guys can do hard things. You know, you don't have to live a life where hard things just happen to you. They're going to happen to you because unfortunately that's part of a lot of the deal, right? But they don't only have to happen to you. You can also happen to it too. So I want to leave you there because I felt like it was more efficient for me to respond this way when I started to see some of the responses come in. I was like, oh no, we're going to have to handle this as a group. Okay. So anyway, if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel. And if I don't see you again, I'll see you next lifetime.